Alright, so this is my Rocky and Bullwinkle Pinball restoration project. Just going to go over the stuff I've done in the Playfield, which I'm pretty much done with. The things I have left are to rebuild the cabinet and try to find a better condition back glass, but other than that, the Playfield runs flawlessly. As you can see, all of the bulbs have been replaced with LEDs. Most of them came from Cointaker. A couple of them came from Pinball Center in Germany, like the slow changing, fading LEDs and the pop bumpers. All of the plastics have been replaced with NOS plastics that I found a complete set on eBay. An exceptionally lucky find. These plastics are pretty much impossible to find intact original. But every single plastic is brand new original stock. And as you can see, the nail table has been completely rebuilt. All new screws, all new plastics, a new decal. The only thing that isn't brand new is the Nell log herself that Nell is attached to. That's used, but it's in very good condition, so I'm happy with that. New decal on the pie display, all Cointaker frosted LEDs. Also use mostly frosted LEDs in the inserts. I find that works best. There's no blinding hot spots, and it just gives a nice even color output from those inserts without it being overbearing. A couple of them I did have to use something more powerful, like two LEDs and supers, because of the colors. Some of the darker colors work better with a brighter LED than a standard frosted. Down here on the left out lane, it's kind of hard to tell from the camera, but instead of just using plain whites, I use graduating color system from yellow to orange to red there. So as you advance them, the color gets hotter. And then of course I stuck with the green for the multiplier. For most of these amber colored inserts, I used the warm white frosted premium, also from Cointaker. The ramps, the left way back ramp here apparently was a reproduction, and whoever installed it didn't bother to buy a decal, so I had to strip it out, buy a decal from Bay Area Amusements, and apply that and reinstall it. The other two ramps are original, and they were in pristine condition. I found them on a site in Norway, and I was just blown away that they were in such perfect condition. There's not even any rust on the tongues or other metal parts, and the decals were all intact. The ramps that were originally in here were completely thrashed. The decals were scraped. You could barely see them. In fact, the right jackpot ramp there was hiding some severe damage. When I took it out, I found most of the front part of it had been broken and disintegrated away. And these outlane guides here, I found these from a dealer on online that was based in Bulgaria. They're not in absolutely perfect condition, but they're very, very close, and just at a glance they look perfect, so I was happy with those. And they were certainly better than the ones I had. The ones that came with the machine, when I took them out, they basically fell apart in my hand. They were so old, brown, brittle, and they just fell apart in my hands as I took them out. So I was glad to find these replacement originals. All the rubbers have been replaced with white ones, except for a couple of spots, but mostly white rubbers. I also completely rebuilt the flippers, both above and below. It has all new hardware below, brand new flippers above, the correct white DE ones. Although instead of the black or red, I found some blue flipper rubbers, and I thought they worked great with the theme here. Down here, the lockdown bar was completely covered in rust. There were no stickers or anything. It was just completely coated in very thick rust. So I stripped it out and found a replacement that I got off of, I believe, Pinball Life, aka Terry. And then I actually manufactured these stickers to look just like the originals that used to be on there. Printed those out and just stuck them on, and they work great. The Data East logo was actually pretty well scratched up, so I repainted it, and again, at a glance, it looks great, so I was happy with that. Made my own free play card and put that in there. Again, that's also brand new original plastic there. I also put in a Boris button and I stuck a red LED in there, and then I restored the coin door original green coin insert slots and put some super LED green LEDs in there, also from CoinTaker. Put a brand new start button in there. I believe I just put a warm white button LED in there, also from CoinTaker. Of course, brand new flipper buttons on the side. I also have brand new armor, but I'm not going to put that on until I actually rebuild the cabinet with a, with brand new wood and new paint. Also want to point out over here on the upper ramp, a lot of people sometimes have this wrong on their ramp, but if you notice between the two dome flasher lights, there is a 1.5 inch, I believe, spacer that just goes straight up like that. And we determined on the forums that that was there to prevent a ball from getting stuck in there. Now, I've seen some pinball machines where they have a much taller one in there and they hook it behind this upper plastic sky. It's not supposed to do that. As you can see, it's quite a bit of ways from it. But I have seen some pinballs restored with that sticking up behind there, and that's not supposed to be the way it is. All the other spacers have been replaced with brand new ones from various sites. Mostly I go through Marco, also Mad Amusements, Bay Area Amusements, of course Pinball Life, just, a good half a dozen different online dealers to get everything. The plastic domes on top of these two upper pop bumpers, I got those from Cruiseman because mine had sun bleached decals on there, and of course you can't buy any more new decals. But he happened to be parting out a Bullwinkle machine, and he had these, which had pristine condition, non-sun bleached decals, so I gave him a good price on those, and he sent them to me, so I was glad to replace all of that. So now I don't have any sun bleached decals. Also, of course, the Save decals are brand new as well. Behind them I have pink LEDs. I thought that was a good color scheme. Down in the inserts are purple LEDs. Also, the bomb targets. These are brand new ones that I got from Pinball Center in Germany. They are slightly wider than the originals by about 1 millimeter. And what that means is I had to feed them through the top in order to insert them. Normally you can feed the bomb targets through the bottom. But since these were wider, they wouldn't fit through the holes, so I had to feed them through the top. That was a little bit of a challenge, but it was well worth it because the originals were, again, disintegrating and scratched and beat up, and these are all nice, brand new looking. And the slight wider, by 1 millimeter does not affect gameplay at all, and they look great. Very happy with those. The Playfield is in pretty good condition. I suppose if I were to go like all out with the restoration, I would buy a pristine NOS one, but that's going to be a lot of work because you'd have to drill for all the various posts and whatnot, and that would be very nitpicky for an incredible project to do something like that. So I'm pretty happy with the Playfield. There's no deep gashes or anything. It's not flawless, but again, it's one of those at a glance while you're playing, it looks great. Also above, I installed a brand new dot matrix display. Got that from Mad Amusements for, I believe it was like $159, $160, something like that. Best deal you can find on the internet. Here is the back glass again. I have all LEDs back there using cool white frosteds. except for the curtain area where I have blue frosteds in there, give it a more blue look. Ideally, I want to find a better back glass. This one's got some scratches in it that I'm not too happy about, but again, those are very hard to come by in pristine condition. One thing I wanted to point out was a modification I did on the plastic posts. I don't know if you can see them back there that go underneath that board plastic underneath the nail table. As installed, they are tall enough that they rub against the bottom of that plastic and actually warp it and scrape the paint off. So what I did was I sawed off the top 1/4 inch, maybe even less than that, maybe 1/8 of an inch, just a little nub off the top of them, and then sanded them smooth on the top and screwed them back in, and they still serve their function for holding the rubber in place, but at the same time they no longer rub or touch that plastic under there, so that's a great preventative measure. Also, I removed the post that goes from the table to the plastic, as that also warps the plastic and is completely unnecessary. The 2 posts on the other side that run along the edge of the board are more than sufficient to hold the table up. So it's just unnecessary wear and tear on the plastic, and most used plastics you see are completely warped and damaged from those particular issues. Also, I tried to polish and clean all of the metal gates, dipped them in an acid solution, and then polished them off. It's kind of hard to tell from here, but they were initially covered over in rust and a white residue, some sort of calcium deposit, I guess, from water damage. This entire machine had gone through what I believe to be a flood or a hurricane, as virtually every post, every screw, every nut was covered in rust, and I had to replace all of that, and it took some time. But since then I have replaced all of the screws and all of the washers and various nuts, all with brand new hardware. And also I have all Cliffy protectors installed. As you can see in the ASAW pole, there's the Cliffy hole protector for that. And also both the ramps have Cliffy protectors. I was glad to get those when I got these brand new original stock ramps and got them installed right away to protect them. So that was another fortunate thing to have. Also, the pop bumpers, both above and below, are brand new hardware, with the exception, of course, the plastic domes on top. But all the hardware underneath, the plastics, the rods, the springs, various bushings and whatnot, they're all brand new. Lastly, I just wanted to point out that this did not have the topper display on it, but I found a nice one on eBay. Of course, none of those have the original hardware. Most don't, and if they do, they're used and in pretty beat up condition. However, Marco happened to have the brackets in stock, so I got 4 brackets, and originally they were riveted in, but I was able to just use the appropriately sized screws and nuts, and just use small screws and nuts to secure it, which I think is actually better, because if you want to completely strip it apart, you know, you could do that. With the rivets, obviously, you're going to end up having to destroy it, basically, to take it apart with the rivets. Also, in the back box is a brand new power supply board from Xpin. They are fantastic. I'm very happy with it. Well worth the investment if you have the means. All of the lights and flashers have been working fantastic since I put it in. Features I never noticed before, giving an idea how bad off the original power supply board was. So that's it.